Hey guys, Loricus here with the achievement guide for Atomic Heart. This one is called Scanner and this is to scan all mobs. Unfortunately, the save exploit is no longer working now, so we'll have to do this using the official method, which is to go through the game and scan each enemy individually. There's a total of 35 different enemy types including bosses, but you only seem to need 22 for the achievement to pop. However, I will list all 35 in this video, because some are possible to miss. To get this footage, I've had to switch to another Microsoft account and I'm starting a new game. So the mobs in this video are going to be listed or shown in order of appearance. To do a scan, just double tap RB on the Xbox controller and then put your crosshair over the orange target. Our very first target to scan is going to be the VOV-A6 Lab Tech, which is commonly found everywhere, and these guys are the white humanoids which are unarmed. The second variant you'll bump into is the VOV-A6 CH Lab Tech, but in black this time. These guys are commonly found everywhere, and they're similar to the first ones, just a little bit harder to kill. The third enemy type that you're going to meet that you'll need to scan is the Dandelions. These are the security cameras that are attached to the wall and can be commonly found everywhere in the game. The fourth mob that you're going to bump into is the WSP-9 in blue. These are the guys that go about and repair things that you break. These are commonly found everywhere in the game. Just give them a quick scan when you see them. Once you reach the seed bank, you'll start bumping into GMC-69s. This is the P variant in red, which is a machine gun turret that rolls around. Just give it a quick scan when you see it. I've also marked this as rare, as you'll only see 4 or 5 in the whole game. Literally just around the corner from the red variant, you will find the yellow flamethrower one, just to the side of this locked door here in the seed bank. Again, I've marked these guys as rare because you're only going to see 3 or 4 throughout the whole game, so make sure you get him scanned early on. If you have finished the game, there's one potential area in the open world that you might find this, which is within the compound where you get the key for testing ground 11. Just after killing that last robot, I was going to parkour up to this chest, and then we have a WASP-9 laser, which is the guys in yellow that shoot laser beams at you. He came to check me out, so while I'm here I'm just going to give him a quick scan. Again, these guys are pretty common and can be found everywhere in the game. Our 8th scan is potentially missable. These are the owls that you can find within the seed bank. These are the variant that are unarmed and just generally milling around carrying cargo. I don't believe these guys are found anywhere else in the game, so ensure you give them a scan. Our 9th scan is the GMC-69L, which is the white variant of those rolling turrets. This little guy will shoot laser beams at you. Again, he's rare because there's only 4 or 5 of them in the whole game, so make sure you get him scanned. Our 10th scan is going to be the Mutant. This is the standard variant. There is another 2 variant of the Mutant. So when you scan them, just make sure it just says Mutant and nothing else. Again, these are common and found everywhere in the game. Within the same section of corridor which you use to go and get the algae canister, you'll bump into another mutant type, which is poison. These can be identified with the green leaves on their heads, and they also spit poison. Don't worry if you've missed them, you can find them elsewhere. At the end of the same stretch of corridor, at the very end, you will find the fire mutant variant. There's no key identifiers on these guys, just give them a quick scan. However, when you do kill them, they tend to lift up in the air, float away and explode. The 13th scan is the RAF-9 Engineer. I've marked these as rare as they aren't available in the open world and can only be found within missions. When you do spot one, ensure you give them a scan. As you're trying to overload the algae producers, you'll bump into a new variant of owl. These guys have laser beams on them. Just make sure you give them a scan before destroying them. As we drop into the pesticide workshop for the first time, you'll bump into a mother and a sprout. The mother is the plant-like creature that tends to stick to walls and surfaces and produces sprouts. And the sprout is this little guy floating around in the air, and both are commonly found everywhere throughout the game. At the very end of the pesticide workshop, you'll come across two mothers that are producing fire sprouts. So on the left hand side here in the background, you'll see a fire sprout spawn. You can identify these guys by their orange wings or leaves. Just ensure you give it a scan before you destroy it or its mother, but they are commonly found everywhere in the game. Within the same room as the fire sprouts, you'll come across a large mutant. These are kind of mini bosses that are spread out through various missions. However, I've put these down as missable because you won't encounter these guys in the open world. So make sure when you do run into one that you give them a scan. Now that we've reached the fresh air of Forester's Village, you'll come across a WSP-9 patrol. These are the flying robots in red, which have cameras attached to their base. Again, these are commonly found and tend to be only in the open world. Our 20th scan is the MFU-68 CP Duck. These are the guys with the grenade launchers. Again, these are commonly found on all missions and within the open world. Within the same area just beside the ducks, you'll also bump into the MFU-68 Labourer. These are the guys with the buzzsaw on their heads for chopping down trees. After dropping off the train, we'll be rudely interrupted by a VOV-A6 Lab Shield series. These are the guys with the electric batons and they have the ability to put a shield up. Just give him a quick scan to tick him off as number 21. Again, these guys are commonly found within missions and the open world. My 22nd scan, which popped the achievement, is for HOG-7 Hedgie, which of course is the unique boss fight that you'll find in the exhibition entrance. Just ensure you give him a scan before starting the boss fight, because this one is missable as you won't see them anywhere else within the game. Once you've entered the exhibition centre or the VDNH, you'll bump into the ARU-31 Rotorobots. These are the guys with the twin bladed arms that'll try to chop you up. Just make sure that you scan one of these guys before defeating both of them. However, you will bump into a few more in the open world and further missions. A little bit further on into the VDNH, you'll come across a boss fight with a Plyusch. These guys can pop up throughout the game in various locations. There is roughly 5 or 6, I believe, in total. The last one you'll probably bump into is in Testing Ground 9. Scan number 25 is Med-6 Doc. There's not many of these guys around, so I've just marked them as rare. There's probably 8 to 10 in total throughout the game, 2 of which you'll probably find in the open world. Just ensure you give them a scan when you do see them. Our 26th mob scan is the LUC-1 Rocket OWL, which can be found on the roof of the VDNH. You'll also find it within the open world just above Testing Ground 8. These are the variant of owls that shoot rockets at you, obviously, so they're quite easy to spot. Do ensure that you give them a quick scan because there's only 3 or 4 encounters with them throughout the whole game. Number 27 is going to be the Belyash. I've marked this guy down as rare. Although he is a boss fight, you will bump into him in multiple places, and I think there is a total of 5 in the game. Just ensure that you give him a scan when you do bump into him at the theatre entrance. If you did forget to scan him at the theatre, just head over to Testing Ground 8, and as you exit you should be jumped by 2 of them. As you enter the theatre, you'll bump into a different variant of the Sprout. This is the poison variant, which can be identified by their bright green leaves. If you leave them long enough, they'll interact with a dead body and also produce a poison mutant if you're missing that scan too. If you have missed them, now that you've met them in the theatre, they'll start spawning in the open world. Our 29th scan will be for Natasha. You'll find her at the very end of the theatre in a boss fight arena. If for whatever reason you forgot to scan her in the theatre, you can head over to Testing Ground 12 to encounter her again. Our 30th scan will be the Mutant Nurse. This variant of Mutant can be found in the Pavlov Hospital or Morgue. You'll be sent here during a main story mission, and I've marked this down as missable because if you leave this area without scanning the Mutant Nurse, you won't be able to get back in. So ensure you do scan the nurse while you're in here. The nurse is obviously a female variant of the Mutant and can be found in white overalls. Scans 31 and 32 can be both found in the same area for the Large Mutant. There is two variants in the Pavlov Hospital / Morgue, which are the Fire and Poison variant. The Fire variant will have 4 glowing balls on its back, which you can see in the distance there. The one closer to us is the Poison variant with the green balls on its back. Both of these will also spawn the relevant sprouts, so the poison one will release poison sprouts and the fire will release fire sprouts. Just ensure while you're at the hospital and the morgue that you do get these guys scanned and don't just kill them outright. You bump into Dewdrop at the very end of the game, just as you're about to enter the lighthouse. He'll burst out of this whale and you'll have him as a boss encounter. Just ensure you do give him a scan before you kill him, otherwise there's no way to return and you don't see him anywhere else in the game, so this one is missable. Our very last 2 scans are of course from the twins at the very end of the game. During the boss fight you can scan them individually, both left and right will give you 2 scans, giving you the final grand total of 35. Hopefully, like I said earlier in the video, it does pop for you around the 22 mark. However, if you do need to get all mobs, there is the full list of 35. As always, if you found this guide useful, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.